Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Speak Smart podcast. Today, we're taking a deep dive into some sources you've provided on some pretty major global issues.
Okay.
Climate change, poverty, and health problems, it seems like. You're really interested in understanding how these massive, complex challenges are actually connected. And you know what? You're right on the money.
Yeah.
They're more intertwined than you might think.
What's fascinating is that understanding these connections is really key to finding effective solutions. It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle.
Right.
You can't just focus on one piece. You need to see how they all fit together.
Exactly. So let's start unpacking this puzzle. And I think the best place to begin is with climate change.
Sure.
Now, you probably already know the basics. Climate change is a long-term shift in weather patterns, not just those day-to-day variations.
Right.
But did you know that one of the biggest drivers of this shift, the greenhouse effect, is actually a natural process?
That's right. Greenhouse gases act like a giant blanket around the Earth, trapping some of the sun's heat. Without this natural blanket, our planet would be way too cold to support life as we know it.
Okay, so a blanket keeping us warm? That sounds cozy, right?
Yeah.
What's the problem?
The problem is that human activities like burning fossil fuels for energy and cutting down forests are pumping way too many greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. It's like we're piling on extra blankets, making the Earth overheat.
So it's less about the blanket itself and more about how thick we're making it.
Exactly.
And these sources that you've provided really highlight the consequences of this overheating. We're talking melting ice caps, rising sea levels, coastal cities at risk. It's a pretty intense picture.
It is. And it's not just about warmer temperatures. We're also seeing more extreme weather events. Think hurricanes, droughts, heat waves, all becoming more frequent and intense. The sources that you shared even mention a study that found a direct link between climate change and the increased intensity of recent hurricanes.
That's sobering. And it's not just humans who are feeling the heat, right? These sources also talk about the impact on ecosystems, like polar bears struggling to survive as their icy hunting grounds melt away.
Absolutely. The ripple effects of climate change are felt throughout the natural world, disrupting delicate ecosystems and threatening biodiversity.
So we've painted a pretty bleak picture here. But the sources you've provided don't just stop at the problems, they also point to solutions, which is encouraging.
Yes, and they highlight that solutions exist at all levels, individual.community.global. You personally can make a difference. Simple things like using public transport, reducing energy consumption at home, or even planting trees in your neighborhood can collectively have a significant impact.
It's like that saying, think globally, act locally, right?
Exactly.
And your sources emphasize the importance of education and community action. Schools are teaching kids about climate change, local governments are promoting sustainable practices, and communities are coming together to support renewable energy sources.
Exactly. But we also need those larger scale solutions. International agreements to reduce emissions, investments in clean technologies, and policies that promote sustainable development. These are all critical pieces of the puzzle.
It seems tackling climate change really does require a multi-pronged approach, but it's not the only global challenge we're facing. The sources you provided also delve into the issue of poverty, which I have to admit feels equally overwhelming.
It is a complex issue, but your sources make a crucial point right off the bat. Poverty isn't just about a lack of money. It's about the absence of basic needs and opportunities, trapping people in a cycle of limited choices.
That's a really important distinction. It's not just about income. It's about being deprived of the resources and capabilities to live a decent life.
Right.
And the sources you shared paint a vivid picture of the multifaceted nature of poverty.
They highlight a web of interconnected factors that contribute to poverty, including lack of education, unemployment, poor health, and systemic inequalities. It's like a tangled knot where each strand reinforces the others.
One of the sources even used the analogy of a leaky bucket.
Okay.
It described how a lack of education can lead to unemployment, which then leads to poor health. And all of these leaks drain away a person's resources and opportunities.
That's a great way to visualize it. It's not just one single cause. It's a combination of factors that create a cycle of poverty that's incredibly difficult to break free from.
Your sources also highlight the devastating impact of natural disasters and conflicts, which can push people who are already struggling into deeper poverty due to the loss of homes, livelihoods, and essential resources.
What's fascinating here is how these external shocks expose existing inequalities and vulnerabilities, making it clear that poverty isn't just an individual problem. It's a societal issue deeply rooted in systemic factors.
So with all these complex and interconnected factors, where do we even begin to find solutions?
Your sources thankfully offer a glimmer of hope. They highlight a range of multifaceted solutions, from investing in education and job training to improving access to quality healthcare and addressing systemic inequalities. It's about empowering individuals while also creating a more just and equitable society.
One source I found particularly interesting talked about the concept of microfinance. Have you heard of this?
Yes, it's a fascinating approach. Microfinance involves providing small loans and financial services to low-income individuals, often in developing countries, to help them start or expand small businesses. It's about empowering people to create their own opportunities and break the cycle of poverty.
It's a hand up, not a handout, right?
Right.
And that same source highlighted the importance of addressing basic needs. Things like food banks, shelters, and clean water projects play a vital role in providing immediate relief to those in need while we work towards those longer-term solutions.
Absolutely. It's about meeting people where they are and providing support that empowers them to move forward. It's a reminder that addressing poverty requires both immediate action and long-term strategies that address those root causes.
It seems like we're starting to see a pattern here. Tackling global challenges requires a multifaceted approach that considers individual actions, community engagement, and systemic change.
You're absolutely right. And that brings us to our final topic for this part of the deep dive: health problems and diseases. Your sources emphasize how deeply interconnected health is with the other issues we've discussed, climate change and poverty.
They really drive home the point that health isn't just about individual choices. It's deeply influenced by social, economic, and environmental factors.
Right.
And your sources highlight a wide range of health challenges facing the world today, from infectious diseases like the flu and malaria to non-communicable diseases like heart disease and cancer.
And of course, we can't forget the impact of the recent COVID-19 pandemic, which really brought the issue of global health security into sharp focus. One of your sources described it as a wake-up call, highlighting the vulnerability of even the most developed nations to infectious diseases.
It certainly showed how interconnected the world is. A health crisis in one part of the world can quickly spread and have ripple effects across the globe.
Exactly. And your sources also stress the importance of mental health, which is often overlooked.
One of your sources even stated that there is no health without mental health, emphasizing that conditions like depression, anxiety, and stress can have a profound impact on individuals, communities, and societies as a whole.
It's a reminder that health is holistic. It encompasses our physical, mental, and social well-being.
And then there's malnutrition, which, as your sources point out, is directly linked to poverty and food insecurity.
Right.
One source I found particularly heartbreaking described the devastating impact of malnutrition on children, leading to stunted growth, weakened immune systems, and impaired cognitive development.
It's a stark reminder of the inequality that exists in the world and the urgent need to address food security as a fundamental human right.
So faced with all of these complex and interconnected health challenges, what can we do?
Your sources offer a range of solutions, from personal responsibility to global cooperation.
Let's start with the basics, right? Things like maintaining a healthy lifestyle, eating a balanced diet, getting regular exercise, practicing good hygiene, and staying up to date on vaccinations.
Those are the foundational pillars of individual health. But as your sources point out, individual actions are only part of the solution. We also need strong and equitable healthcare systems that provide access to quality care for everyone, regardless of their income or social status.
And it goes even deeper than that, right?
Yeah.
Your sources emphasize the importance of addressing the underlying social and economic factors that contribute to poor health. Things like poverty, lack of education, lack of access to clean water and sanitation.
Absolutely. It's about creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to live a healthy life. And that requires addressing those systemic inequalities that create barriers to health and well-being.
It seems like we're seeing that recurring theme again. Tackling global challenges requires a multifaceted approach that considers individual actions, community engagement, and systemic change. It's about working together to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Let's take a break here and come back to explore the implications of all of these complex interconnections in part 2.
Sounds good. It's quite a web we've woven, isn't it?
It is. Climate change, poverty, health, all interconnected in these complex ways.
Yeah. It's a lot to take in, for sure. But, what's striking me as we go through these sources, it's not just about the problems themselves, it's about the solutions.
Right. And how a solution in one area can have a ripple effect, a positive one, on the other areas, like dominoes falling in the right direction.
I love that analogy, and your sources back that up. Take renewable energy, for instance.
Okay. Shifting away from fossil fuels not only mitigates climate change, but can also create jobs and economic opportunities, lifting people out of poverty.
Right. And those new jobs could provide access to healthcare, further improving people's lives.
Yeah, it's like a chain reaction of positive change.
Exactly. One of your sources actually called it a virtuous cycle, where progress in one area reinforces progress in others.
I like that, the virtuous cycle. And your sources offer some really interesting insights into how we can do that. One theme that emerges is the importance of individual action.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed by these global challenges and think, what can one person really do?
Right. But your sources make a compelling case for the power of individual choices.
They highlight the cumulative impact of small everyday actions. For example, choosing to walk or bike instead of driving.
Okay. Not only reduces carbon emissions, but also promotes physical health. Buying locally sourced produce, supports sustainable agriculture, and strengthens local economies. It's about aligning our everyday choices with our values.
One of your sources even suggested keeping a sustainability journal to track those everyday choices and see how they add up over time.
I love that. A sustainability journal. It's a great way to stay mindful of our impact.
It's about empowering ourselves to make a difference in our own lives and communities. And speaking of communities, your sources also emphasize the importance of collective action.
Okay. They highlight the power of community-based initiatives to address local challenges. Things like community gardens, neighborhood cleanups, and local advocacy groups are all examples of how people are coming together to create positive change.
One source you shared focused on the Transition Town movement, which is a global network of communities working to build resilience in the face of climate change and economic instability. It's a great example of how people are taking action at the grassroots level to create a more sustainable future.
That sounds really cool. I like that. It's inspiring to see people taking ownership and working together to find solutions. But your sources also acknowledge that we need action at a larger scale, right?
Absolutely. We need policies and systemic changes that address the root causes of these global challenges.
Okay. Your sources highlight the importance of holding our leaders accountable for enacting policies that promotes sustainability, equity, and global cooperation.
One of your sources even included a guide on how to contact elected officials and advocate for specific policy changes.
Oh, wow. It's a great resource for anyone who wants to make their voice heard.
It's about recognizing that we're not just passive observers. We're active participants in shaping the future. And that participation can take many forms, from voting in elections to supporting organizations working on the front lines of these issues.
So it can feel overwhelming at times, but I think what you're saying is that every step in the right direction counts, whether it's a personal choice, a community initiative, or advocating for systemic change.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're all part of a larger system, and our actions have ripple effects, both positive and negative. By understanding those connections, we can make more informed and impactful choices.
One of your sources had a quote that really resonated with me. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
That's so powerful. It's a reminder that change starts with each of us. It's about recognizing our own agency and using our voices and actions to create a better world.
So we've explored these complex challenges.
Yeah.
And we've uncovered a wealth of solutions. But I think what I'm taking away from all of this is a sense of hope. Is that something you see in these sources too?
Absolutely. Despite the gravity of the issues, your sources are infused with a spirit of optimism and a belief in our collective capacity for change. They highlight the incredible resilience of human beings, our ingenuity in finding solutions, and our deep desire to create a better future for ourselves and generations to come.
That's nice. I like that. And that brings up a really interesting point. We've been talking about these global challenges and solutions, but what about the future? How do your sources address the question of what we can do to ensure a better future for everyone?
You're right. That's a critical question. And while your sources don't have a crystal ball, they do offer some compelling insights into what a more sustainable and equitable future might look like. They emphasize the importance of long-term thinking, investing in education and innovation, and fostering a sense of global citizenship.
I remember one source mentioned the concept of intergenerational equity, which is the idea that we have a responsibility to make choices that ensure a healthy and thriving planet for future generations.
That's a powerful concept. It challenges us to think beyond our immediate needs and consider the long-term consequences of our actions. And it's not just about protecting the environment, it's about creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to live a fulfilling and meaningful life.
So it's about creating a future where people and the planet can thrive together in harmony. But what are some specific actions we can take to move towards that future? What do your sources suggest?
They highlight a range of approaches, from supporting sustainable businesses and investing in renewable energy, to promoting education and empowering marginalized communities. They emphasize the need for collaboration, innovation, and a commitment to justice and equity.
One source specifically mentioned the importance of supporting social entrepreneurs, people who are using business principles to create positive social and environmental impact.
That's a really exciting area. Social entrepreneurs are at the forefront of developing innovative solutions to some of the world's most pressing challenges. They're proving that we can create a more sustainable and equitable world, while also fostering economic growth.
Well, you don't have to choose between progress and sustainability. We can have both.
Right. But it's not just about businesses and entrepreneurs, right? What about individuals and communities? What role do they play in shaping the future? Your sources emphasize the importance of individual actions and community engagement as crucial drivers of change. They highlight the power of education to raise awareness, inspire action, and empower future generations to become agents of change.
One source even suggested creating a future vision board to visualize the world we want to create and inspire us to take action towards that vision.
I love that idea. It's about using our creativity and imagination to shape the future we want. And it's a reminder that change is possible. We just need to believe in it and work towards it.
Well, I have to say, going through these sources with you has been incredibly inspiring. It's easy to get bogged down in the doom and gloom. But your insights have helped me see these challenges in a new light.
I'm glad to hear that. And I think that's the power of knowledge and perspective. When we understand the complexities of these issues and recognize the interconnections, we can start to see solutions emerge.
It's about moving beyond fear and apathy and embracing a sense of agency and hope. And that's a great note to transition to our final part of this deep dive, where we'll explore the key takeaways and what it all means for you, our listener. Wow, we've been on quite a journey through these sources you provided.
We have.
Tackling climate change, unraveling the complexities of poverty, and exploring the multifaceted world of health. It's been intense, but also incredibly eye-opening.
What strikes me is how your sources don't just present these issues as insurmountable problems. They offer a sense of hope and agency, highlighting the potential for positive change.
I agree. It's like they're saying, hey, these are big challenges. But we're not powerless.
Here are some ways we can make a difference. And that's a powerful message.
And I think the key takeaway from all of this, one thread that runs through all these sources, is the idea of interconnectedness. We've talked about how climate change, poverty, and health are all intertwined. But it goes even deeper than that, doesn't it?
I think so. It's about recognizing that we're all part on a larger web of life, a global ecosystem, where our actions have ripple effects.
One of your sources described it as the butterfly effect, the idea that even the smallest actions can have far-reaching consequences. It's a reminder that we're not isolated individuals. We're all interconnected, and our choices matter.
It's a powerful concept.
It is a little daunting, but it's also empowering, right?
It is. It means we all have the potential to create positive change, no matter how small our actions may seem.
And your sources offer a roadmap for how we can do that. They highlight a range of approaches from individual actions to collective efforts to systemic change. They emphasize the importance of staying informed and engaged, educating ourselves about these issues, and using our voices to advocate for change. One source even suggested hosting a climate change dinner party.
Oh, wow. To engage friends and family in conversations about these issues.
I like that idea. It's a great way to break down those barriers and create a space for open dialogue.
Make it more accessible, less intimidating.
And it's not just about talking right. It's about taking action.
Absolutely. Your sources highlight the importance of aligning our actions with our values. That might mean supporting sustainable businesses, reducing our carbon footprint, volunteering in our communities, or donating to organizations working on the front lines of these issues. One source even suggested creating a personal action plan, outlining specific steps we can take to make a difference.
Oh, I like that. It's a great way to stay focused and motivated.
Taking those big ideas and translating them into concrete actions. And remember, it's not about being perfect or doing everything. It's about doing what you can, where you are with what you have.
That's an important reminder. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the magnitude of these challenges and feel like our individual efforts don't matter. But your sources make it clear that every action counts, every voice matters, and every step in the right direction makes a difference. And they also emphasize the importance of staying hopeful. Despite the challenges we face, there's so much beauty and goodness in the world, so much potential for positive change.
One of your sources shared a quote that really resonated with me. Hope is not the belief that everything will be okay, but the conviction that not everything is lost.
That's powerful. It's a reminder that even in the face of adversity, we can choose hope. We can choose to believe in our collective capacity to create a better future.
That's the message I'm taking away. Hope, agency, and interconnectedness, we're all in this together, and together we can make a difference.
And your deep dive into these sources is a perfect example of that. You've taken the time to engage with these complex issues. You've sought out knowledge and perspectives, and you're now equipped to go out and make a positive impact on the world.
Thank you, and to you as well, for providing such thought-provoking source material. You've sparked a conversation that has the potential to ripple outwards and create positive change.
So keep learning, keep questioning, keep taking action, and never lose hope. Thank you for listening to the Speak Smart podcast.